Okay, so for this video, I'm actually gonna break down the surface layout of my car and how I did some of the trickier transitions. Um, it's gonna be a fairly quick video, and just to sort of showcase that you don't really need to make things so complicated. And the first thing I want to do actually is I want to take it down to hard edges. So I have a file um, open that I already did that, and this is the car just basically untrimmed. And as you can see, all the main surfaces are all connected to each other, and that's what really gives the car a lot of balance. Um, and and even these surfaces with curvature and all that, I'm keeping everything very whoops. I'm keeping everything very simple. Forgot to untrim. And if I show you guys the surface layout, see I don't really have my surfaces aren't all my main slabs are always 3 to 5 degrees. Sometimes I'll use more degrees than that. I think in this whole car, the only place I did it was basically in the main in the main canopy. But usually I don't recommend that just because you have to do a lot of you have to be very controlled with your lines, and it's a little difficult. But yeah, if it depends on what's going down the pipeline. But if it's just for example, what I did in terms of just the showcasing, modeling, and rendering it, you could go up to 9, 10 degrees. Like, it doesn't really matter. But it's always good to just keep it as low as possible. And if I show you guys this, and my surface layout, I mean my CV layout, I wouldn't call it perfect. But this car, there's always a timing to every project, and this car, it was when I started my company, and I really needed to showcase what I can do, and so I took time off to make this car, and so there was definitely a time limit. So that's also another thing you have to really consider, because I've worked from class A, like production modeling, to quick sketch modeling where I do a full exterior in less than 4 or 5 days, and and that's one of the things that you really in your career that you have to learn how to sort of turn the knob in quality versus speed, because that's what really gives you value in the long run. That you can, if you give me enough time, I can make anything perfect. But also, if we only have a couple days or a couple hours to do it, I can make it happen. It won't be exactly the most beautiful thing in the world, but it's all about getting the job done. Sometimes, there's no sometimes there's a time limit, and you just have to kind of use all the spans you want and just kind of get volumes and space. So this was about three, probably basically like around a month of work, and and that's including designing and all that. I do all my designing just digitally, in the model with curve network and stuff like that. So I wanted to also show you guys just basically how it looks, and see if you see a car, a model like this. To me, a model like this is very close. Very close to done, because all it is just the secondary surfaces, and then the third surfaces. But if you're already up to this point, it's basically already set. So if I toggle back and forth between them, it's the same. There's no. I'll take out the headlights and tail lights and the copper. And so if you see the model, it's the that's the main frame is already in place. and all I'm doing is adding the transitions. So if we kind of like toggle back and forth, see? If you look at the highlights, you know, they don't really, none of this changes. This is already set. All I'm doing is just adding the transitional surfaces. And I almost never, you know, instead of adding a fillet and doing all this, I never, you know, because I see a lot of guys that they'll get to this stage, and instead of adding a surface here, they'll just kind of like go back like that and like that. I never do that. I always keep I always keep the original surfaces into the corners. Because to me, you don't really need to do that. A lot of people do that because either they can't find curvature on the stick or anything like that. But if we look at my model, even the transitional surfaces are fairly clean. You know, they're not really they're not out of this world in terms of the of how heavy they are. See, I try to keep everything as clean as possible. And then some of the like the more trickier corners, I kind of want to just show you guys. See, we go back. See, it's all uh, you know, adding fillets and making sure that you do it correctly, you know, and always the bigger transition to the smaller transition, you know. In this whole area, this was the last thing I did, and and yeah, so let me see. Oh, maybe back here too. And then let me go back to this one. See, this area was a bit tricky, and I kind of wanted to show you guys how I did it. Basically what I do is first I'll make this this transition here, right? And then I'll cut this surface from here at the midpoint, and then use another surface to sort of to attach itself to this corner and this corner, and then this way it has this cool, it sort of washes out before. And actually, after this, my next videos, I'm actually going to rebuild all of this slowly, with some new design changes and stuff like that. I've been meaning to change this car up for a while, but I've been so busy with my client work that that I just hadn't had time. Let me see what else. Oh, another thing too is the reason why my secondary surfaces are very clean and simple is because I'm also letting my primary surfaces are all very much talking to each other. If I go here, you know, they're all getting edge to edge, and a lot of them are based off each other. For example, this body side is actually it's more based on this surface, because I know that this surface needs to be curvature to this surface, and I know that I wanted this surface to be in the same you know, surface than here. So I was sort of stuck here, and I wanted to, and so what I did is first I found the curvature here, and as you can see, you don't need to have the CVs lined up or anything like that. It's you know, even if they're not angled right, you can still find curvature. I do a lot of CV massaging, you know, and that's with my CV tool. So like, for example, if I isolate this, I'll isolate these two, and then those are my Z, and they're up here. And and when I press Z, see, I can start doing that, and I could sort of get everything a little closer or a little more balanced, and then I could press Shift C, and I can move the normal. See, so then I could go here, And I do this a lot, just balancing out CVs and like right now, I was in a bit of a hurry with the first time I did this, so it was really, I didn't really have much of an option. But that's basically how I sort of find curvature, is just basically understanding how to find curvature and using my CV tool to move stuff around off the normal. I always try to move everything off itself. So if, like, for example here, if I wanted, oh well, first I check for curvature, right? So then I kind of want this to be a little more closer to here. Let me open that one up. Oops. Yeah. And then, like, let's say I didn't like how this line bends back. I can go here and see I'm using this to so that I'm not losing anything. And then here. So there, now it's a much cleaner layout. But even then, that's not really that's more my own, like, sort of obsessive compulsiveness of cleaning everything up. But I don't think it was really necessary, and I had to move on to other things when I was building this. So and another thing too is if you look at it from the top, right? This is the curve, the smooth one. You see all of these, you see all these main lines. They're very smooth, and even here, and I've talked about this in other videos, but I wanted to go a little more in depth in that with my guides. So I have a guide here for the sidewall, and then yeah, I even have a guide here. I'll showcase this in the other. Let me open the other one. So so I always use these surfaces to basically help me make everything nice and clean. And a lot of times too, like for example in here, if I hide this, I'll make a surface that's in between two surfaces, and then I'll line up those surfaces I'll project align those surfaces to this surface. And this is actually an old one because I didn't really need it because of all the part separation. Let me go to this one. Get the guides out. But when I was when I was initially building it, it was I got these to a theory, to a common edge, and then I would align them to this guide curve using like a projectile line, and see, like right here, and then that would make it would be easier for me to find curvature amongst them. So I do this sort of a slave surface between two surfaces a lot, just to sort of not a lot. I didn't do it a lot in this project, but in my career I've done that a lot to sort of solve issues, because sometimes stuff like this here, oh whoops, it's if you don't have a lot of CV control and you try to basically align these edges using traditional alignment tools, a lot of times it goes really wacky. And that's just because of the algorithm does a lot of different things to solve curvature, and a lot of times you don't want those changes, so you have to sort of have different techniques to straighten that out. And then, as you can see, like for example with this slab here, and the reason why I angled it like that is because if I open it here and take out the guides, I just really like, looking at car, like maybe like from this height, and even though there's a muscle here, like an upward sort of design element, or a break in the design line, even from a view like this, there's no S-ing or anything, just kind of like a nice cool straight line. And then even these, these offsets, if I open the other one, see, I use the main this big surface to control that. And then even here, if I oh, this is the one I didn't want to keep. Yeah, so don't I mean, whatever your workflow is, it's fine, you know, but the thing is, if someone grabs your model after this, it's really difficult to change if it's all edge to edge. So I always try to keep everything boxed up, and I don't think you really need to move anything back, you know. But see, I even have one here, you know, to help me make all of these into basically the same kind of family. And there's a bunch of them that I actually deleted already, that I used while I was building and designing this car. What else? Yeah, so if you you know, if you just see, everything's just edge to edge, you know. And a lot of times, like when I'm working inside a design studio, uh, a designer will come in and be like, "Oh man, we still got a lot of, you know, time left, and all this is," and I'm like, "Dude, this is basically done." You know, once you have the volumes in place, that the rest is pretty easy. See, but it's the exact same volumes, just with the fillets installed. See? But yeah, I just wanted to sort of make this quick video to sort of talk a little bit more about that. If you have any questions, you know, put it in your comment. But I'm actually, my plan was actually to finish this cart because I had to rush when I initially built this because time was running out and I really needed to basically make money, and I couldn't afford to keep working on this. But now that was like about a year ago, and now that you know, I'm sort of doing good with my clients and all that, I have the extra time to continue this project, finish it once and for all, and also showcase not only the finished model, but the process on how I make design changes and, you know, get everything back to theory. And I actually already started, and I'll actually, in this video, and well, in the end, I'm gonna post up a sped up version so you kind of get a quick preview of what I'm doing. But yeah, so remember, I mean, there's a lot of different modeling techniques, and this is how I like the most because it gives everything a lot of structure and weight and balance. This is very much like an Audi, or I used to work at the Volkswagen Design Center in California, and a lot of what I really enjoyed modeling and the design wise, I learned there. And and yeah, it's just very structured, and you know, there's a lot of it just looks like there's volumes under it, and it doesn't look weak. It looks very stable, you know. But yeah, okay. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, so I'll see you guys next time.